18 away from the century for Richie Richardson, and new batsman out there at the moment. Vivian Richards is the man who has come out. Joins Richie Richardson and faces Terry Alderman. No third man for Viv Richards. He'd be outside off stump there, I should think.
There's Richards out there, replacing Dujon, who went for the straight drive. The lofted straight drive, I'd say. He mishit the ball. It went out towards Wood at mid-on, and a pretty straightforward catch for him. Certainly have the impression that he was trying to lift it, and it was straight down the throat of the mid-on fieldsman. So, well, a partnership there broken by that shot.
Wicket maiden to Terry Alderman, who once again has bowled well. Wicket of Carl Hooper early in the day. Hooper came out in place of Gordon Greenwich, who retired hurt overnight with a closed eye. Struck in the eye yesterday, batting against Alderman. Unable to take his place out there. Carl Hooper came out. And that's how he was dismissed. Beautiful ball, cut back very sharply. Alderman's normal ball goes away from the right-hander. He has that variation, and that did the trick. 3 for 57, his figures now.
As he frustrates the bowlers a little bit, does Richardson. Every now and again pretends he's playing at the ball, or certainly looks as if he's playing at it, but in fact he's taking his bat out of the way, and this is an example of just that. Notice how he just removes the bat from the line as it goes past the edge. First time I ever ran into that situation was as a youngster playing against Kent. And Colin Cowdery used to just open the face of the bat just a little bit. I really got quite disturbed. I thought he might be taking the mickey out of me. Did never get him caught behind. But he too used to play down the line and then simply take the bat away at the last minute.
No ball called. 3 for 192. Have to add 38 onto that for the overall lead. Nine no balls to McDermott. Perhaps that's the wrong way to phrase it. That sounds as though it's going into his credit column. Nine no balls against McDermott. Man behind Richie Richardson there has plenty of worries at the moment. He has to go for wicket taking and containment. Never easy to do. You can gather that he's looking at the containment side because he has a third man in. There's nothing the modern day player hates more than being asked to use a third man. Doesn't matter how many run off the outside edge for 4 or 3 or 2 or 1. That Border is using third man and fine leg now.
There's the fine leg way down there to the left of the side screen. He's the fine leg, and across on the other side and in from the boundary a little bit is the third man fieldsman. A lot of ground to cover, those two fieldsmen. Mind you, the ground is lovely and smooth out there. This surface, a pleasure no doubt to field on. Very smooth. Perhaps not quite as good as a bowling green, and the marvellous patterns out there created by the mower. Those patterns really are just the different lie of the nap of the grass. The cut away is the light area, and the dark area is when the mower is running towards us, and the nap of the grass lying in that direction. If you were putting out there, Richie, you'd have to putt a little more firmly in the dark section.
It's a very good lesson there, Tony. I'll come back to that in a moment. Taylor is the fielder.
That's the end of the over, 3 for 193. For 193. Richardson now has 83. Alderman the bowler.
Just going back to that grass and the nap and the grain of the green out there, Tony. Speak.
Yes, well, that's a tremendous example of the work that goes on out here. The light section to the left there is when the grass is cut away from us as we are now, and therefore the nap of the grass lying away, you'd have to putt a little bit more gently if you were putting on the light section. The dark section is when the nap of the grass is facing you. That's obviously been cut from the opposite side. That creates the pattern. Now, if you were a golfer, they tell me that if you were putting into the dark section, the fact that the grass was pointing towards the ball would slow it up just a little bit more than it would if you were putting on the slightly lighter section. Is that correct, Mr. Benno?
It reminds me of Peter Ellis's number plate. He got the yips at one stage, and his number plate became putt 3. However, there we are. Golfing aficionados can stop beating their heads against the wall. We've spelled it correctly. However, I can tell you that long as I've been playing golf, I still have the most awful trouble reading the greens, but I'm in good company there. There are about 7 million other Australians who have the same problem. It's 3 for 193. So it's 3 for 193. While we're talking about putting, gives me the chance to remind you that the Nine Network will be covering that excellent golf tournament at Palm Meadows up in Queensland in January. That is a terrific golf tournament, won by Greg Norman last year. It's on from the 12th of January to the 15th of January, Palm Meadows Golf Course, which is a super course. And the Nine Network will be covering that. Thursday the 12th of January, Friday the 13th, Saturday the 14th and Sunday the 15th. We'll also be covering the Benson Hedges World Series Cup on the 12th and 14th. It's a no ball called. And the golf and the cricket will slot in perfectly. It will make for days of magnificent sports television. The marvellous tournament at Palm Meadows, the Benson Hedges World Series Cup, and that goes through Thursday, January 12, Friday the 13th, Saturday the 14th and Sunday the 15th. And there are some great players in that tournament. Greg Norman, the 1988 winner, Curtis Strange, Ian Woosnam, Mark O'Meara, Ray Floyd, and many others. That golf tournament is also being telecast direct to Japan and will go to various other parts of the world as well. Back here at the MCG, Master one-iron blaster. Well, his cap went off, didn't fall on the stumps. Did happen to a West Indian once on this ground. Joe Solomon.
Well, that certainly bounced, and it certainly rocked the West Indian captain, not just back on his heels, but literally hit the glove. Off went his cap. He was quite lucky that didn't go down on the stumps border in the background, sees the cap going, and as it was falling, you could see his anticipation there of it dislodging a bail.
You reckon Richards was lucky it didn't fall down? McDermott was the lucky one, because the last time it happened, 70,000 people booed the bowler.
Richards calling now for the spray as well. That's obviously hurt his hand.
I think Richie Richardson was into that shot almost before the ball left McDermott's hand.
He's almost licking his lips there, wasn't he? He actually got a little bottom edge on this, and it went down into his tummy. But he really was looking to smash that one square on the leg side.
It's all happening out there this over. Ball is doing some extraordinary things, which is not going to be enormously comforting to the Australian batsman. 3 for 197. 85 to Richardson, 1 to Viv Richards. Now Terry Alderman has the ball, well, almost in his hand. But a few deliveries have found the edges of the cracks out there. Going a little more like the WACA pitch in the Perth Test match. It looks good out there. I simply can't work out how the ball is keeping at such varying heights, because it looks so good. David Boone.
Yes, that well fielded by David Boone. On numerous occasions he's been very quick in this position at forward short leg. He did well to get a hand to that one. It's a pity he didn't manage to hang on to it, because he would have been able to flick it back at the stumps. And it may just have been that Viv Richards was struggling a little bit to get back. Viv Richards has already completed his 100 test matches. In fact, he's now in 100 and on 102. So Richards has been through that milestone, that tremendous milestone of playing 100 test matches. 7,500 runs at an average of 52. It really is outstanding. 23 centuries. So Viv Richards, that's a breakdown of his overall test record. Just have a look at those averages. The overall average is 53, and against England he's averaging 69. That's the best he's done. So England really have suffered at the hands of Viv Richards. Australia, he's averaged 47. 5 of his hundreds coming against Australia. Even India, Pakistan and New Zealand, he's averaging less than he has against England.
Well, there's no question that hit a crack. Like to be able to bowl a leg break that spun that far. 3 for 198. Back out in the centre, Craig McDermott to continue. Be bowling to Vivian Richards. Just looking at that test record again, Tony, as Australian figures, average of almost 50. Seems a far cry from the day he made his debut against Australia up at the Gabba. That's way back in 1975-6, and made a duck in the first innings. Caught Gilmore bowl Lilly, and then was run out for 12 in the second. So you wouldn't say it was an auspicious debut. That's against Australia. Nor did, that's 3 for 200 West Indies, nor did Viv have all that auspicious a debut in Test cricket as a whole, because he played against India at Bangalore in his first game.